A hospital social worker meets with a 64-year-old woman recently diagnosed with terminal cancer. During the session, she shares that she doesn't want her adult children to know her prognosis because they'll try to stop me from making my own choices. What should the social worker do next? A. Respect the client's wishes and document the conversation. B. Encourage the client to consider the benefits of involving her children. C. Inform the children to ensure they can prepare emotionally. D. Refer the client to palliative care services immediately. Answer. B. Encourage the client to consider the benefits of involving her children. B is correct because it balances respect for autonomy with encouraging open communication. A is tempting because it honors autonomy, but the social worker should explore her reasoning before finalizing that decision. C is incorrect as it violates confidentiality. D may be appropriate but does not directly address the ethical dilemma presented. A school social worker observes a 12-year-old boy who has become increasingly withdrawn and irritable. He mentions in passing that going home is the worst part of my day. What should the social worker do first? A. Conduct a thorough risk assessment. B. Notify Child Protective Services. C. Explore the student's home environment in more detail. D. Inform the school principal. Answer. C. Explore the student's home environment in more detail. C is correct because more assessment is needed to determine if a report is warranted. A is premature. No explicit risk is yet indicated. B is tempting, but reporting without further information could be premature. D breaches confidentiality unless there is confirmed risk. A client with a history of opioid dependence has missed their last 3 outpatient sessions. The client calls and asks to return but says they just needed time to reset. What is the best response by the social worker? A. Schedule a new intake session. B. Explore the reasons for the missed sessions before proceeding. C. Reinstate the client's treatment plan immediately. D. Refer the client to a higher level of care. Answer. B. Explore the reasons for the missed sessions before proceeding. B is correct because understanding the lapse is essential for informed clinical decision making. A may be helpful but skips important context. C is too quick without context. D assumes relapse severity without assessment. A 35-year-old client recently diagnosed with schizophrenia expresses confusion and frustration about their medication. They say, "I don't even know what this stuff does to me." What should the social worker do first? A. Educate the client about their medication. B. Refer the client to their prescribing psychiatrist. C. Ask if the client has been medication compliant. D. Validate the client's concerns and explore their understanding. Answer. D. Validate the client's concerns and explore their understanding. D is correct because it establishes rapport and understanding. A is tempting, but first, the social worker should assess what the client already knows. B is appropriate, but not the first step. C skips empathy and moves into monitoring mode. A 28-year-old woman in a domestic violence shelter says she wants to return home because he promised to change. She appears anxious and minimizes past abuse. What should the social worker do first? A. Develop a safety plan with the client. B. Encourage the client to reconsider her decision. C. Contact law enforcement. D. Refer the client to a support group. Answer A. Develop a safety plan with the client. A is correct because safety planning is essential regardless of her decision. B. Risks disempowerment and may harm rapport. C is not indicated unless immediate danger is disclosed. D may be helpful later but is not the first priority.
Hey, let's take a break. I know you've been grinding for hours, which might actually be hurting your ability to retain information. Yeah, science says so. So here's a reminder. Step away for a minute. But wait, you know that I got tools designed to help you study smarter? I'm talking about my 150 question online practice exam so you can test yourself before the real thing, and my 150 social work practice question ebook, as well as my exclusive activity e-workbook that makes studying interactive instead of just reading notes. Because let's be real, just reading the material isn't enough. You need to know how to apply it. So while you're taking that much needed break, check them out. Your future licensed self will thank you. Links are in the description. Now go take that break.
An elderly client shares that their adult child has recently taken control of their bank account. The client seems nervous and avoids eye contact when discussing the situation. What should the social worker do next? A. Report suspected financial abuse to Adult Protective Services. B. Refer the client to legal services. C. Ask more specific questions about how the money is being used. D. Confront the adult child directly. Answer C. Ask more specific questions about how the money is being used. C is correct because further assessment is needed to determine whether abuse is occurring. A might be necessary, but more information is needed first. B could be useful, but it's premature without confirming abuse. D is inappropriate and unethical without client consent. A client discloses during therapy that she plans to confront her ex-boyfriend who has a restraining order against her. She states, "He deserves to see how angry I am." What is the most appropriate action? A. Explore her feelings and underlying reasons for confrontation. B. Contact law enforcement to prevent a violation. C. Remind her of legal consequences and document the conversation. D. Terminate the session due to safety concerns. Answer A. Explore her feelings and underlying reasons for confrontation. A is correct because exploring intent may de-escalate the situation. B may be necessary later but isn't the first response. C is part of documentation but does not address the emotional component. D may cause rupture and is unnecessary unless risk is imminent. A recently discharged inpatient psychiatric client calls their outpatient therapist and says, "I still hear voices, but they're quieter now. I don't want to go back to the hospital." What should the social worker do first? A. Schedule an urgent in-person session. B. Conduct a phone-based safety assessment. C. Notify the client's psychiatrist. D. Reassure the client and encourage medication adherence. Answer B. Conduct a phone-based safety assessment. B is correct because it prioritizes real-time assessment. A is tempting, but safety needs to be assessed immediately. C, may follow the assessment. D, could delay urgent intervention. A 9-year-old boy is referred by his teacher for increased aggression and frequent outbursts in class. During the initial meeting, he states, "I hate school. Nobody listens to me." What is the best way to proceed? A, involve the school counselor in the treatment plan. B, recommend a psychological evaluation. C, explore the child's perspective and emotional experience. D, request a parent-teacher meeting. Answer: C, explore the child's perspective and emotional experience. C is correct because the child's voice and experience should be the starting point. A could be helpful later but doesn't address immediate rapport. B may be necessary but not before assessment. D is part of coordination, not clinical engagement. During a community intake, a social worker interviews a refugee client who is having difficulty adjusting. The client expresses deep sadness, poor sleep, and isolation. They say, "I feel like I don't belong anywhere." What should the social worker do first? A, refer the client to a psychiatrist for a medication consult. B, conduct a diagnostic screening for a major depressive disorder. C, recommend local support groups for refugees. D, validate their experience and assess for trauma and depression. Answer: D, validate their experience and assess for trauma and depression. D is correct because it centers the client's emotional experience and clinical need. A may be needed later but jumps ahead. B is useful but comes after initial assessment. C is supportive but not clinically comprehensive.
I hope you found this video super enlightening and a big boost for your understanding of the social work license exam questions. If you're craving more tools and support to ace that exam, don't miss out. Head over to our website at gilbertandbell.com right now. I've got everything you need, from in-depth study sessions to practice exams, all designed to help you cross the finish line and get your license. And hey, if you're on the go, just shoot a quick text with the word study to 347-683-7923. Hurry, these resources won't study themselves.